Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allah Salah, Allah Salah, Allah Salah, Allah Salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.
As-Salaamu-Alaykum. Alhamdulillah. Na'budu wa nasta'iinu wa nastaghfiruh. Wa a'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Ya ayyuhannasu taqu rabbakumul ladzi khalaqakum min nafsin wahidah wa khalaqa minha zawjaha wa bata minhuma rijalan kathira wa nisaa wa taqulal alladhi tasaaluna bihi wal arhama inna Allaha kana alaykum raqiba. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida yusli lakum al-malakum wa yaghfir lakum dhunubakum wa may yuti lillahi wa rasulahu faqad faza fawzan azima. Amma ba'd. Praise be to Allah. We seek His help and His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own souls and from our bad deeds. Whoever Allah guides will never be led astray. Whoever Allah leads astray, no one can guide. I bear witness that there is nothing worshiped except Allah. He is the one, and Allah has no partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad is His servant and messenger. O you believe, fear Allah as you should be feared. Do not die except as Muslims. O mankind, fear your Lord who created you from one soul and created from it his mate, and his birth from both of them many men and women. And fear Allah through whom you ask one another your mutual rights, and do not cut the relations of the wombs. Indeed, Allah is ever watching over you. O you believe, fear Allah and speak the truth. He will lend you your deeds and forgive you your sins. And whoever obeys Allah and His messenger has certainly attained a great achievement. Amma ba'd. Inna Khairal Hadithi Kitabullah wa Khairal Hadith Hadi Muhammadin wa Shurur Umuri Muhtadaduha wa Kula wa Muhtadatin Bida wa Kula Bidatin Dalala wa Kula Dalalatin Finnar. Indeed, the best hadith is the book of Allah, and the best guidance is the guidance of Muhammad ﷺ. And the worst of matters are those innovated by the people, and every innovated matter is a bid'ah, and every bid'ah is astray, and every going astray is in the fire. I'm back. So we basically taking off from what we did last week. Let me read these ayahs first. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female, and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Know the God against evil. Indeed, Allah is an ever knowing, all aware. And that's in Surah Al-Hujurat. That's called the compartments. And that is the 49th surah, and that's the 13th ayah. And of his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the diversity of your languages and your colors. Indeed, in that are signs of those who have knowledge. And that's in Surah Romans. And that is the 30th Surah, the 22nd ayah. Today's Khutbah is called the myth of the white race. So we're going to be talking about the fallacies of race and the system that is currently collapsing right now. We've described in the last Khutbah. We're trying the last Khutbah that we were talking about that when truth comes, falsehood vanishes, and falsehood is bound to vanish. And so the whole entire system that we see collapsing in front of our eyes is a system that put one people or group of people over other groups of people. So we're going to be going into it. In order to dismantle the system, you have to understand, how that system came about. So this is what this Khutbah is going to be about. We're going to be talking about how the system came about, who invented the system, and then we're going to know how the system is coming down. Now, this Khutbah, there's a lot of information, so everything can't fit into this one Khutbah. However, there are Khutbahs, established Khutbahs that I have done. That's going to be dealing with what I mentioned last week is Vulcanane, the possessor of two horns, and Gog and Magog. And there's a Khutbah, those are two-part Khutbah, where one part I'm talking about the Vulcanane, this comes straight from the Quran, and Gog and Magog, of course, comes straight from the Quran. Because the Quran predicted all of this. It's all in the Quran. So basically, this is what we mentioned last week, and that Allah did not establish a system of racism among men. As we read in this Quran, that Allah established that there was only, that all of mankind is descended from Adam and Eve. That Adam and Eve were dark-skinned people, as Adam means dark skin. So we reduced all the various colors came from that. That the law is established that was scientifically proven that the dominant genes, which produces a dark-skinned person with dark, brown eyes, with broad nose, thick lips, scarce hair, that two individuals or a couple, can produce a child that has the recessive genes. So anybody that's regardless of their skin tone, regardless of their hair color, regardless of their eye color, hair texture, and so what can be reduced by two dark-skinned dominant gene people, right, man and woman. So this is what has already been proven, and you see examples of that. Go on the internet, see examples of that, and people have done that today. All right. So we established that no people are inferior to another people. And the ayat that he said above, where Allah says that He made different nations and tribes and peoples or tribes and nations, and that everybody, the only superiority that any person has over another one is their ability to guard against evil, and also some translators say righteous or being pious. That's the only superiority. Superiority of character. Like Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream, peace." Not being judged by the content of your skin, by the content of your character. That is the establishment that Allah has already created, to be judged by the content of your character. That's the whole entire thing when we talk about deen, is to be judged on the content of your character. So that's what Allah has established. That's nature. That's natural. Now we discussed also about our Arabic ancestors and how they viewed themselves and their skin colors. To remind you that the darkest one was Akhtar. Akhtar is what the people we call blue black. Aswad, people who we call today jet black. Ma'atin are the people who we describe as dark brown. Okay, Adam, we already know that Adam is an Arabic word that means brown. Asma is another word for brown, and that's generally where we fit in. That's Asma, being brown. And then we have Ahmar. Ahmar, the people that we call Caucasian or white today. And the word Ahmar, or which means red, is not limited to just our Arabic ancestors, because in the book The Lost Civilization of Lemuria by Dr. Frank Joseph on page 86, and it is a story of a woman, I think she's a European woman that came to Rapa Nui. Rapa Nui is what we call Easter Island, and talked to the people there. And they described the people, that they were actually people that had actually white skin. And these people were giants. They still exist in some of the islands. They were 12 to 15 feet tall. Right? Pigmentation was white. And I'm going into that a little bit. They had red hair. So when the elders of Rapa Nui or Eastern Island talked to her, and they talked about those white giants and stuff like that, and talk about how these people influenced their society. She said, "Oh, you mean white like me?" They looked at her and they said, "No, you're what we consider red, like the Europeans." So the word red, that those whom we call Caucasian or white today, our ancient ancestors called them red. Okay? Now the word white was in the Arabic. It's abayd or abaya. It meant, that word meaning white had nothing to do with skin complexion. That was not a word used for skin complexion. That was a word that was used in two senses. One sense was skin condition. It meant white, meaning white without blemish, meaning smooth skin. You had no blemish. So even a dark-skinned person was considered white because they had no blemish in their skin. And then the second sense, it was used as to describe character. Someone that was white, we discussed last week. What white really meant. It meant illuminating, innocent, pure. It was used to describe character, someone of noble character. So there are hadiths where they say the prophet, a man came into Medina and looking for the prophet, and the Sahaba said, "Well, this white man over here." Remember, in Arabia, they did not use white to describe skin complexion. They used white to describe noble character. And that's what that meant, that he had noble character. Like I told you, when we go straight back to the word black, the word black meant pale in its original sense. So the white people that we call today were the original black people. The black people whom we call today are the original white people. They done switched it all around. So you have to keep that in mind. Now let's go over the invention of the white race, and that's the name of a book by a man named Theodore Allen. And he wrote this book a few years back, I think in the early 2000s. So we see that the whole entire thing of white supremacy is dependent upon racism. I mean, white supremacy and racism is the same exact thing. So prior to the Bacon Rebellion that we learned about, right? The Bacon Rebellion in 1776. Prior to that, there was no classification. There was no such thing as a racial classification as white. because the Anglo-Saxons, right, the elite that came up from Europe, that became the elite here, the Anglo-Saxons looked down upon the Scots and the Irish that they used as indentured servants. You know, they worked on the plantation, they did the hard labor and everything like that. Also among the indentured servants were people of Moorish descent. Okay? Moors. Our people. Dark-skinned people. And our people were, the majority came from here in America. But there were also some that came from Africa and some that came from Europe. The Aboriginals of Europe. They were put on ships and brought here also. You know, so the whole thing about our ancestors came from Africa and that's it? Look, no, that's not it. That's not the whole story. That's a little piece, and then the percentage of Africans came over here very low as the population that was already here. But that's going to be a whole nother Khutbah, but we're going to stick with the whole thing of the myth of the white race. Because we understand that what we are living here is the myth. So basically, this is what we learned. That after the Bacon Rebellion, in order to split up the collective power of the indentured servants of the labor force, the plantation owners decided, you know, they're the political elite, because to even at the founding of this nation, the United States, only the people who own land were the only ones that were able to vote, you know, vote in the government. Okay, so traditionally, the people who held the power were the landowners. So after the Bacon Rebellion, you know, those landowners decided to include the pale-skinned indentured servants in a class with them, right? And those other ones were of the people of color. Those other ones were basically the outcast. That's when they decided to make this caste system. So the privileges were given to the pale-skinned indentured servants. And they were able to, once they had, you know, all indentured servants, once they finished their term of usually 7 years, they were given land and so forth. So what happened after this? It was those whom they considered white were given the land. They were given you know, their emancipation after a period of time. Those who were considered the dark-skinned ones, they were restricted. They became restricted. So eventually they were put in labor indefinitely. Once that period was over, then they had to do another period. They were put in labor indefinitely, and they were forbidden to have land. So this is the same thing that it talks about in the Quran and Surah Al-Qasas, the 28th surah. I think it's the 4th ayat, where Pharaoh, you know, made divisions among the people of the land, and he favored one over the other. That's how he came to control. It's called divide and conquer. Now, by the next century, which is the 18th century, right? Even though you have more players in this, we're going to focus on the people that actually codified this system. Carolus Linnaeus, he was a Swedish botanist and a zoologist. He was like the man of his day, you know, the authority of his day in terms of those things. But what he did was use their knowledge. A botanist is somebody that studies plants. And zoologist, of course, is somebody that studies animals. And he used that same type of classification to classify human beings, which is causes an error. Okay? It was in 1935, and he first came out with the book Systema Naturae. There's another date on that book, which is 1676. I've got to check that. And it might be a addition. And this is what he said in this book. Okay, he split it into Americas: bred, choleric, righteous, black, straight, thick hair, stubborn, zealous, free, painting himself with red lines, regulated by customs. All right. This is what he called the people of America. He called them red. That's where we get that from. So-called red Indians. You know, we of course we know for a fact that there really was no red people in terms of fact. But you know, in addition to splitting these people up by continent, that he also put characteristics on the people, okay? So he thought they were very, you know, righteous and so forth. It's characteristic. So it said, Europeans, you're European, white, sanguine, brownie with abundant long hair, blue eyes, gentle, acute, inventive, covered with close vestment and governed by laws. So he looked at the white Europeans as being civilized. And today we still have that mentality going, and that mentality is dying. But that was the thing that they enforced. Even to the point that when I was a child in the books that your grandparents had, you know, my parents, they had Encyclopedia Britannica. And they had a picture there of statues. And one was from Nigeria. And they put under it Caucasian with a question mark, because they figured that Caucasians, you know, and then we go to get into that just a teeny bit later, or what Carolus Linnaeus said, the white Europeans, the civilized. Then he said Asiaticus, yellow, melancholy, stiff, black hair, dark eyes, severe, haughty, greedy, covered with loose clothing, and ruled by opinions. Okay? So he thought less of the people who he called the yellow, and the yellow Asians, and that still sticks today. And then he put Afro, Africanus, black, phlegmatic, relaxed, black, frizzy hair, silky skin, flat nose, timid lips, females without shame, mammary gland, give milk abundantly, crafty, sly, lazy, cunning, lustful, careless, anoints himself with grease, and governed by caprice. Okay? So it taught. So this was a hierarchy where they put the Europeans on top and the Africans below. So we understand the way Allah created everything, that every single human being, you know, there's good and bad in everybody. Right? Everybody had you know, now we are, it's coming out, the truth is coming out, that everybody and every single person has civilization. So I'm going to, in the first part of this Khutbah, in the second part of the Khutbah, I'm going to go into how they more codify this system. All right, so now in this first part of the Khutbah by saying, "Aqulu qali hada wastaghfiru Allah li lakum." I say these words of mine and I ask Allah for forgiveness for me and for you. Alhamdulillahi wa salatu ala Rasulullahi wa ala alayhi wa sahabihi wa man wala. Praise be to Allah, since countless blessings and the message of Allah, his family, his companions, and unto their followers. Next up, the person that helped codify the two people, George Louis Laclerc, Comte de Buffon, and known as George Buffon, and he was French. And he basically came up and codified the term race. It says it was in 1749. Johann Blumenbach is credited with splitting mankind up into 5 different races, which he called Caucasian. He's responsible for that word Caucasian. Mongolian, Ethiopian, American, and Malay. But the thing is that again, their belief was that Adam and Eve were Caucasian, and that other races came from the Caucasian. And because of their environmental factors, they degenerated from Caucasian. And they say these factors such as sun and poor diet. They said they believed that the degeneration could be reversed if proper environmental control was taken, and that all contemporary forms of man could revert back to the original Caucasian race. So they got it all backwards, right? They went against what Allah has established. So they looked at the Caucasian as being the atypical man. Instead of looking what Allah has created in Quran as the people of dark skin. Just backing up just one little sec in terms of that racial code in America. Going back to the book, The Invention of the White Race, that was written by Mr. Theodore Allen. He has a quote in here that he says, Richard B. Jordan, the author of White Over Black, found that after about 1680, taking the colonies as a whole, a new term appeared, white. So we understand that the whole entire racial thing is very, very recent, really. That whole entire thing. You know, we're living the myth today. Now, they would say that Lemuria is a myth, or Atlantis is a myth. But we find that there's evidence. A lot of things that they say that were myths, that was made up by the ancients or whatever, and then they found the evidence. They found the physical evidence of it. You know, when I talked about the white giants, and they were traumatizing the tribe, that a female, she was a queen among the Native Americans, the chiefess. Among the Native Americans, and she wrote what happened back, you know, I think it was back in the 1500s or so, in terms of the tribe, and that the white giants were invading the tribe, and they were cannibals. They would take people off and go to a cave and eat them and everything like that. The white giants had red hair, and they said that the chief of the tribe wrestled with their leader and defeated him. And the tribe chased them into the cave, and they burnt the cave. You know, and of course by the 1800s, you know, these folks are thinking, y'all just making this up. Until they found the evidence, until they found the cave, until they found the bones of the red giants. I mean the red-haired giants. Until they found that. And they found the bones and stuff of the people that they were eating. And they found the evidence that the cave was destroyed by fire. So like I said, what our ancestors said in the past is the truth. What we are living today is the myth. There's no such thing as no white race. There's no such thing as no black. There's no such thing as racism among men. That's a lie. Allah did not create it like that. He did not create humanity like that. So generally, again, it's a khutbah. And I could go on and on for hours with this information. And I don't think it'll be a service to anybody. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to end it right here. Any benefit you receive from this khutbah is from Allah alone. Any mistake, errors, or omission is from me and me alone. What we are going to do, we're going to continue on with the successive khutbahs. Next week we'll be talking about going back to the origin of what we see today, what separated the Caucasian people from everybody else. And that's what I call the Caucasian mentality. That's, again, like I said, that's going to be in I have to explain that in two khutbahs. The next khutbah would be a Dhul Qaneem. You know, and saying like who Dhul Qaneem is. And then the other khutbah, the second part of the khutbah would be Gog and Magog. Okay? And like I said, I given these khutbahs in the past. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama salli Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Oh Allah, send your prayers upon Muhammad and upon the family of Muhammad. As you send prayers upon Ibrahim and upon the family of Ibrahim, you are indeed worthy of praise, full of glory. Oh Allah, sends blessings upon the family of Muhammad and upon the family of Muhammad. As you send blessings upon the family of Ibrahim and upon the family of Ibrahim, you are indeed worthy of praise, full of glory. And then we could do a Rabbana Atina fi dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban. Allah grant us the good in this world and the good in the hereafter and save from the punishment of the fire. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam. Taba darari wa inkram. Ameen. Oh Allah, you are the source of peace, and when you comes peace. Exalted are you, O Lord of majesty and honor. Allahumma ghafiri wali walidayya wali izadi wali jamil muqtani wa muqtanati muslimin muslimati bi rahmatika amur rahim. Oh Allah, forgive me and my parents and my teachers and all the believing men and all the believing women and all the Muslim men and all the Muslim women with your mercy. Oh, most merciful are those who have mercy. Rather talana anfusana wa taqibana Muhammadan na khasinin. I mean, Allah, we have wronged ourselves. And if you do not forgive us and have no mercy on us, you will be of the losers. Amen. Coming to song. Intentions of offering Salatul Dunya took us forward for the pledge of Allah. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdini siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Aradallahu ghadibu bidin. Wa zalika radiyatu yatim. ولا يهود ولا طعام مسكين وويل للمصلين أردهم عن صلاتهم ساهون أردهم يراءون وينامون معون الله أكبر سيدنا محمد الله أكبر Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدني صراط مستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمعنا حميدا. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. As-Salaamu-Alaykum warahmatullah. As-Salaamu-Alaykum warahmatullah.